Yesterday, just yesterday, May 21st, 2026, Governor Siminalayi Fubara of Rivers State walked away from the APC governorship primary. He personally signed the withdrawal letter. He said it was for peace. He said it was in the interest of party unity. But let me tell you something right now. That letter was not a white flag. That letter was the opening move of the most calculated political chess game in Rivers State since the days of Ken Saro-Wiwa stood up and said, enough. Because while Fubara was publicly stepping aside from the APC governorship ticket, a man bearing the Fubara name, Blessing Fubara Sr., was in Abuja collecting NDC governorship forms. And the NDC, that is the same party where Peter Obi and Kwankwaso just planted their flags. That is the same party whose national leader, Seriake Dixon, personally received the Fubara camp with open arms. You don't step aside from a fight. You change the battlefield. I am your analyst. I have spent years studying the rhythm of Nigerian politics, its patterns, its betrayals, its brilliance. And I am here to tell you, what is happening in Rivers State right now is not chaos, it is choreography. This video is about one man's survival instinct, one state's political soul, and one opposition coalition that may be about to shift the entire architecture of 2027. By the time we finish here today, you will understand exactly what Fubara is doing, why the NDC Peter Obi alliance desperately needs Rivers State, and what this means for every single voter, not just in the Niger Delta, but across this nation. Listen to me. If you are watching Nigerian and African politics right now, and you are not subscribed to this channel, you are operating without intelligence. What I am about to break down for you in the next 15 minutes is not commentary. This is analysis. This is the full picture, the moves behind the moves. Subscribe now. Hit the notification bell because the next chapter of Nigerian politics is being written in real time and you cannot afford to miss a single page. To understand what Fubara is doing today, you must understand where he came from and what has been done to him. Siminalayi Fubara assumed office as governor of Rivers State on 23 May 2023. He did not arrive as an independent actor. He was Nyesom Wike's anointed successor, selected, packaged and delivered to the people of Rivers State by the former governor, who then went to Abuja as Minister of the FCT. It was supposed to be a continuation, a political handshake across offices. But politics in Nigeria does not work like a gentleman's agreement. The moment Fubara sat in that government house chair, he began to assert himself, and that was when the war began. The rivalry between Wike and Fubara transformed from a domestic political disagreement into a wider battle for supremacy, party structure, and future electoral control in Rivers State. By March 2025, President Tinubu declared emergency rule in Rivers State and suspended Fubara from office, replacing him with Ibok Ekwe Ibas as sole administrator. The whole world was watching. International observers condemned the suspension, and yet by September 2025, Fubara was back, reinstated, bloodied but standing. What happened next is critical. Fubara's defection from the PDP to the APC in late 2025 was interpreted as a strategic realignment aimed at easing political pressure, rebuilding alliances, and securing relevance within the national power equation. He joined the man who had suspended him. Think about that. The move was painful, but it bought him time. Now, let us get into the fire. On the 20th of May 2026, Governor Fubara officially withdrew from the APC gubernatorial primary, declaring his readiness to support whoever emerges as the party's candidate. He described the decision as, and I am quoting him here, difficult but necessary, after extensive consultations with family, friends, and associates. Difficult but necessary. Those are careful words. And what happened immediately after? Shortly after Fubara's announcement, George Kelly Alabo also stepped aside from the APC gubernatorial contest. Tonye Cole, the party's flag bearer in 2023, had already withdrawn. The path was cleared for Ogunduchinda, a lawmaker and kinsman of FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, to clinch the APC governorship ticket. The primary was held on Thursday, May 21st, 2026. So let me be plain. Fubara stepped back and Wike's man stepped forward. On the surface, it looks like a defeat for Fubara. On the surface, it looks like Wike has won Rivers State. But here is what the surface does not show you. Barely hours after Governor Fubara withdrew from the 2027 governorship race, a man bearing the Fubara name, Blessing Fubara Sr., entered the contest under the platform of the Nigerian Democratic Congress. Now, it has not been officially confirmed whether Blessing Fubara Sr. and the governor are directly related. Both men are from the same Opobo and Nkoro local government area of Rivers State. But here is what I challenge you to sit with. In Nigerian politics, a coincidence is a myth. On the same day the governor publicly exits the APC race, a man bearing his surname from his local government enters the NDC race. And the NDC, as we speak, is the party of Peter Obi and Kwankwaso. That is not a coincidence. That is a relay race. The baton was passed deliberately. Fubara cited irreconcilable differences with the national leadership of the APC and a desire to align with a platform that better represents the interests of Rivers people. He denied reports of a direct NDC switch as recently as May 13th. But denial in Nigerian politics is often a staging post on the road to confirmation. Now let me break down the legal and political mechanics because this matters. Under Sections 221 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, political parties are the primary vehicles for elections. Governors do not contest as individuals, they contest under party platforms. Under Sections 177 and 182, a sitting governor can only seek re-election if he is still a member of a party and is validly nominated. If Fubara intends to run for a second term, he must find a party that will give him a ticket. The APC door has effectively closed because Wike's structure controls that machinery. Wike visited Port Harcourt in the days leading up to the APC primaries, signaling his support for Chinda. That was not a support visit. That was a coronation tour. So where does Fubara go? The PDP is not an option. He burned that bridge in late 2025 when he defected. The Labour Party is in internal crisis nationally. That leaves the NDC. And the NDC is moving fast. Within days of Obi and Kwankwaso's move from the ADC, senators, House of Representatives, and political blocs began gravitating towards the NDC, instantly giving the party national visibility, legislative presence, and growing momentum. Under the Electoral Act 2022, Section 77, a candidate must have been a member of his party for a minimum period before contesting. Timing of any formal Fubara move to the NDC would therefore be legally critical. The window is tightening, but the political calculation. Drop your comment right now and tell me, do you think Fubara's withdrawal from the APC primary is surrender or strategy? Because in the next section, I am going to tell you something about the deeper agenda here that most analysts are missing, something that goes beyond Rivers State, something that ties this to a continental level realignment. Comment, engage, because your analysis matters here, and what I am about to say will either confirm or completely flip your position. Here is what nobody is saying loudly enough. Rivers State is not just a state. Rivers State is the commercial and petroleum capital of the Niger Delta. It is one of the highest internally generated revenue states in Nigeria. It has federal allocation muscle. It has electoral significance. Whoever controls Rivers State in 2027 does not just win a governorship, they win a strategic asset in the presidential contest. Now, look at what the NDC is building. The alliance between Peter Obi and Kwankwaso pairs Obi's electoral momentum with Kwankwaso's grassroots structure in the north, positioning the NDC as one of the main opposition platforms set to challenge President Tinubu and the APC in 2027. But Obi's 2023 run had a structural weakness everyone saw. He swept the southeast and urban centers, but he could not deliver the south-south. Rivers State went to Tinubu in 2023. That wound has never healed in the Obi camp. If you are building an opposition coalition to unseat Tinubu, you cannot afford to lose the Niger Delta again. You cannot afford to lose Rivers State again. Enter Fubara. For Fubara, the NDC offers a fresh platform unburdened by past Rivers political baggage, potential national alliances that could strengthen his position, and alignment with a party currently enjoying momentum among disillusioned politicians. The deal, whether explicit or implied, is elegant. Fubara delivers Rivers State to the NDC in 2027. He delivers the governorship, the state assembly seats, and most critically, the presidential votes in the South-South. In return, Fubara gets NDC's national machinery backing his return to government house for a second term, or if he chooses not to run for governor, a prominent national political role in an Obi administration. This is transactional politics at its most sophisticated, and the real villain of this story, from Fubara's perspective, is Wike, because everything Fubara is doing is calibrated to deny Wike the one thing Wike wants most: control of Rivers State beyond his tenure as FCT minister. This story is not unique to Nigeria. Let me take you to Kenya for a moment. In 2022, Raila Odinga lost the Kenyan presidency for the fourth time. But before that election, he had done something masterful. He consolidated the opposition's regional strongholds by making deals with governors, county bosses, and ethnic bloc leaders who brought their communities as political dividends. The concept was simple: deliver your region, secure your future. What Fubara appears to be attempting is structurally similar: a regional power broker positioning himself as both kingmaker and ticket holder simultaneously in a state that can swing South-South bloc votes. But the warning from Kenya is also instructive. Raila's coalition mathematics always looked good on paper. The delivery always fell short at the ballot box because grassroots structures had not been genuinely built, only rented. If Fubara moves to the NDC and the party does not invest in building a real River State structure with ward-level penetration, the plan collapses on Election Day 2027. The NDC must not make the same mistake the Labour Party made in 2023. Brilliant urban momentum, weak on-the-ground structure in the Delta. Let me give you 3 scenarios. These are informed projections, not prophecy. Scenario 1. The full pivot. 60% probability. Fubara formally joins the NDC before the end of 2026, secures the governorship ticket under the NDC platform, and runs a full Rivers State campaign aligned with Obi's presidential bid. Wike's APC candidate Chinda faces a Fubara NDC machine that uses incumbency advantages and anti-Wike sentiment to split the state. Result: a competitive 2027 Rivers governorship race that goes to the wire. Scenario 2. The proxy war. 30% probability. Fubara does not formally defect but quietly funds and directs the NDC's Rivers State operation through proxies like Blessing Fubara Sr. He plays kingmaker from the shadows, maintaining deniability while delivering the state's political machinery to the NDC. This is higher risk because proxy strategies can fracture under pressure. Scenario 3. The Tinubu negotiation. 10% probability. Fubara uses the NDC threat as leverage to negotiate a better deal with APC and Tinubu directly, cutting Wike out entirely and returning to the APC fold on his own terms. This is the most transactional scenario and would require Tinubu to choose Fubara over Wike, which has precedent but carries enormous political cost. Here is my verdict. Siminalayi Fubara did not step aside from the APC primary in surrender. He stepped aside as a man who has decided that the house he is standing in cannot be renovated, it must be replaced. The NDC under Peter Obi and Kwankwaso is the most credible opposition vehicle Nigeria has seen since 2023. It is not perfect, it is not inevitable, but it is real. And Rivers State, that turbulent, oil-rich, politically volcanic state, may be about to become the south-south anchor of an opposition wave that even Wike's considerable power cannot stop. The man they suspended, the man they tried to break, he is still standing, and he is choosing his battlefield carefully. The question is not whether Fubara will move to the NDC. The question is when, and when he does, 2027 will never be the same. Share this video right now with someone who is following Nigerian politics but does not yet understand the depth of what is happening in Rivers. This is not just a local story. This is a national inflection point. And if you want my next deep dive where I break down whether Peter Obi and Kwankwaso's NDC alliance can actually deliver the presidency in 2027, or whether it will collapse the same way the Labour Party wave collapsed, make sure you are subscribed and the notification bell is on, because I am dropping that analysis very soon. The conversation does not end here. It starts with you.